welcome to Strictly Roots. I'm your presenter, Rumbi, and I am joined today by Ibrahim Kebe.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Not too bad, yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
That's good.
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's really good to have you. Now, I want to know more about what you do. So tell us more about the work that you do in recruitment.
Thanks for having me here.
It's okay.
My name is Ibrahim Kebe, commonly known as Ebro.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Sierra Leone. I've been in Australia for quite a long time. I've been doing youth mentoring program and do some volunteer with the Organization of African Community, and now I work as an employment consultant. I've been working in the industry for quite a bit now, and basically we give jobs to people and we support people to get a sustainable job.
That's good. That sounds like a very exciting career that you've got going on. What made you get into recruitment? Did you study that in uni, or was that something that you fell in love with along the way?
No, my background is politics and international relations. Okay. But I think growing up in Australia, I find it's a very difficult area people to get a job, and some of the problem that we think it's affecting our community, it's employment, and we have, if you see the percentage of people within our community, the multicultural community, is really high that are unemployed. So I try to get the whole challenge of supporting my people in that aspect.
Okay, good. What do you think causes that though? What do you think is the primary leading reason to why our community as migrants has higher rates of lack of employment?
One of the key things that, according to researchers and according to me working in the industry, there's a lack of knowledge. Absolutely, which is a key problem. And those knowledge is about people coming from a diverse background. They cannot speak English, and they cannot understand how to get a proper job. And the second aspect again is about, like I mentioned before, the language barrier. Language barrier being a key problem. What's happening is that most of the migrants or people from the multicultural community supposed to do about 510 hours, but those hours are not sufficient. And a lot of people just do that hours to get their feet going, but they cannot get the actual or the adequate understanding how to get a job, and that has been a key problem. The second thing again is that is about service providers, what they need to be getting out there, because there's a lot of service out there that will help them out. For example, training courses, because we are missing out with a lot of training that we need to get involved into. Interesting, Australia is a multicultural community, and it's also a working class wherein people need to get an adequate training. But if you see our community, most of them, I can bring an example for myself. I've never worked when I was back home. Come to Australia here and need to adjust into that system, trying to do a lot of volunteer jobs and trying to get a proper understanding of how the employment system run. That's really helped people to get where they want to go.
Okay. Do you think that as migrants, we probably need more maybe workshops or trainings in understanding the Australian job market? Because I can only imagine, even for myself, I came here when I was 14 years old. I can only imagine that the way that I look at work is a bit different from the way that my younger sister and my younger brothers who have grown up here will look at work. For example, I was taught you get a job to make money. And I know that in the world that we live in and in Australia and the job market, that necessarily doesn't work. So do you think that that plays a part in the fact that now we've got lower rates of employment in the migrant communities, because we're essentially only getting a job to make money? We're actually not thinking about it as a career, and you know.
That's a very good thing what you've just mentioned, is about we getting, from working in the industry, we getting a lot of people that just wants to come and start working. Like you've just mentioned, you came here 14 years old, and the way you struggle to get a job, and your younger brothers are not struggling that way. Like I mentioned before, maybe you were not adequate, you were not trained.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Yeah.
Education is another thing. Thirdly, the thing is that you missed out, or a lot of people like me missed out. We didn't get the training. The government have set up a lot of agencies out there. Some of these courses are free. If you understand Centrelink, it's free. What I need to tell my people from the diverse background, when you go to any job agency that you've been sent by Centrelink, you need to ask them first of all, what are the providers out there? What you need to be doing? First of all, like for our for APM, Advanced Personnel Management, we offer people. If you are eligible for wage subsidy, we need to talk to the employer. If you find a job, we can talk to the employer and offer you a wage subsidy, which is up to $10,000.
Oh, okay.
That's one thing. Secondly, if we know that you want to do forklift ticket, or you want to do a course like mental health, hospitality, you want to do this mining, some ticket to get to the mine, we offer most of those things. But I could understand my community. A lot of people are really shy to talk because of the language barrier, and they feel like if you asked, you might not have their support. And we need to get this opportunity. We need to understand that these are our basic rights.
Yeah.
We need to get out there and say, look, you know what? I want to do a mental health course. Whilst I'm doing a mental health course, I'm looking for a part-time job. Okay. You're not only getting a job, but you're getting a sustainable job.
Yeah.
Within that sustainable job, you can build a career into that one.
Absolutely.
So, like you just mentioned, we need workshops. We need to tell people. The other thing again is about CV, how to get your CV. Your CV needs to be lined up to the career you want to do.
Okay.
I find it so difficult to get a job because the career, I was working in a factory for quite a long time, and that's a factory CV I want to use into a professional level, and it won't work. So we need to get people, even you need to ask a service provider, ask them, so look, can you help me out to build my CV? The other thing again, the government is doing, government have a program called the Niche Program, which is teaching people showing people from a diverse background, from the COL community, to start their own employment. Self-employment is a big thing.
Okay. Is that the NICE program?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've actually heard of that one. Yeah.
Because we got a lot of our sisters, brothers, mom, they have a good career back home, but the qualification is not aligned with the qualification here. So what they're trying to do is that they're trying to develop you to start your own project or start your own business.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of opportunity out there. So I can bring an example, my workplace. What happened is that we get a very diverse background, people from the Muslim background. We got somebody I'm from Africa. We got somebody from the Middle East. So we are so diverse to a point where when somebody approaches us, we know where you're coming from, what's your problem, and how can we solve some of your problem.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing I want my people to understand out there.
Okay, I really like what you're saying, and I have to ask, with the organization that you work with, EPM,
Yep.
yeah. So how do I access an organization like that, and in terms of money as well? Because I think one of the things is we automatically assume that if it's an organization, I'm going to have to pay a lot of money to receive those services. Is that necessarily true?
No. It's like we have a lot of service provider out there under the department, because it's not only about my workplace. every department or every job agency out there have the same opportunity.
Absolutely.
And there's another thing again I want to mention. We are missing out young people about apprenticeship. This is another key thing. Some of our boys, brothers and sisters, just finished high school. They very new in the market, but they want to become an engineer, or they want to do something that will list them. But the government have a program called the PATS program. When you do block 1 and block 2, teach you some of the basic skills and basic understanding for you to get a job.
Okay.
So after that one, we lining up with apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So what we do is that within the apprenticeship, like I say, it's out there for every job provider. They will send you to do apprenticeship. If you want to do bricklaying, if you want to do even the mining, there are now apprenticeship out there. But the barriers that we are facing from the diverse background, we're not informed. Lack of knowledge, education, the language barrier. It is a big problem. Having somebody that speaks Swahili and you want to give that person a job, it's a big problem. And we have to look for somebody that owns or have their own business that can accept somebody
like that. Okay. As a community, and I guess this is also asking from, the people that are watching and who may be interested in actually taking on this challenge and doing something about it. What do you think we need to be doing? Do you think we need to be hosting workshops? Do you think we need to be even maybe having conferences? Should we have specific trainings for, specific communities to educate us on them? Because I can only imagine if so, and this even plays into the mental health of migrants. I can only imagine if someone's going through a stressful time of not having a job, and they're probably depressed about it, they're probably anxious, they're probably overworrying. I can only imagine that the last thing that they would want to do is to think about going to a big organization. I can only imagine. So what can we do to bridge that gap between those organizations and our community? Because this is a serious issue, and it's affecting families, and most of our parents as well come into Australia in their late 30s. So a lot of them are not even employed in the jobs that they want. So you can only imagine what that then does to changing the family dynamic. So what can we do as a community to bridge that gap?
Okay, first of all, me being in the industry, I find it so hard to see my people. Simple things, they're getting stressed out. Like as a government, the Centrelink have come up to a point when it's a demerit point, when if you don't do your job shot, if you don't attend your job appointment, all these kind of things is stressing people out. So I have a chat with few consultants from the call community. We want to put a workshop. The workshop, we'll have a chat with you, Root TV, to get involved. We want to get a lot of people in our community to come and let's talk about some of the things. If we think people in our community need an upskill on training, we can source up those training out there. There is heaps of them, I know. So not only me, my friends know. We want to support. So we're trying to get support from the Organization of African Community and probably some few council and see how best we can put this thing out there, and for our people not to get in all this mental health and getting all this lack of family breakdown, because where there's no income, trust me, it's a very big tax. I've been there before.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I really enjoyed speaking to you.
Pleasure.
And I wish you all the best in OAC, in the work that you do in recruitment. And
it's a thank you anyway. But it's a thing that I want my people our people to understand that the only way here to get a job is to get your information right, break some of this barrier, volunteer. And no, we don't take volunteers, but volunteer is good. I do volunteer a lot before getting where I am. So I will encourage my people out there to get all this. There's no shortcut.
Yeah.
We need to work hard. We work as a team as well, because I mean, it's a taboo to talk about some of the problems, but it's really good to somebody to reach out to somebody and ask him, can you support me?
Yeah.
And I've been asked people a lot for support, and I think if we keep asking and we keep understanding the system, we will get where we want to go.
That's true. That's true. Thank you. Well,
thank you very much.
I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much for joining us at Strictly Roots today. Once again, we're joined by Ibrahim Kebe, and that's all from us today.
Thank you.